My lord, the Ice Queen is back and has brought her army of Frostwalkers. Get our troops ready. We must prepare to defend our lands. Welcome to episode 3 of building my fantasy world of Frostholm. Today I want to look at the two main factions that are in the land. At some point I'll introduce more factions, but right now this is the two main factions the story will focus on. The leader of the main evil faction is the Ice Queen. For this I used the CMF Series 16 Ice Queen. For a long time I thought she fit perfectly with the Snow Guardians and wanted to find a way to incorporate her into Frostholm. Personally, she doesn't need to be changed at all to fit her into my world. I also made her a right-hand servant because I feel like every evil queen has some sidekick who just sucks up to them. Many years before my story takes place, the Ice Queen was a witch who was cast out of the village of Blizzard's End due to her wicked ways. She found a chieftain of a roaming Viking tribe and corrupted him to do her will, and with his forces went back and flattened the village of Blizzard's End. After this, she hired mercenaries and any corrupt warriors. The armies of Frostholm made a great alliance and came together with other Viking clans and defeated her army. During the great battle, many brave warriors died trying to slay her, but in the end, she was killed. In this battle was also seen the witch's first attempt at Frostwalkers. With the help of spellcasters, the great alliance buried her body in a tomb with many enchantments, so that it could never be reached. But recently, an unknown group found her tomb, and with magic revived her into the Ice Queen era. This time she has bided her time and perfected her army of Frostwalkers. She plans on taking her army and conquering the land of Frostholm. She also has created other abominations and brought to her side other monsters that live in the land. But those are builds for a different day. Now in the last episode I introduced Frostwalkers, which are undead ice zombies. But since then I've got a lot of great comments from you guys on how to improve them. So I bought some parts and made more. Now many of you suggested parts from both Ice Samurai from Ninjago and the Ice factions from Chima. In the future I definitely want to get some of the Ice Samurai. I think the heads would be really good for some of the figures I want to do. But I really can't use the Samurai parts because they just don't fit the style I'm trying to do. However, I did pick up some Ice Chima faction parts off of Bricklink and some other parts. Sadly, the Chima ice leg only comes as a left leg. So right now all my Frostwalkers have left ice legs. My main use of parts on top of the Chima parts come from the Fantasy Earth Castle Skeletons and the 2007 Viking Warriors. I ended up making 12 Frostwalkers and did try to change them up slightly. These 5 walkers are just generic fighters with a variety of round shields, ice weapons, and armor. I love the look of the one horn on the Viking helmets for these guys because it really helps with that deteriorating undead look. My next group is the best and scariest fighters in the undead army. I made these guys after trying the gray beards with the realistic Viking helmets and skeleton heads. The final look just looked so good that I had to make a few of them. I tried to use a lot of muted colors with the Frostwalkers and give them this decaying feel, and the gray beards just go so well with that. These next two are a part of a subclass of Frostwalkers called Frost Striders. They are very fast and have ice blades in their right hands for quickly dispatching enemies. I found these white devil horn parts that just make these figures look even more demented. Also, I had this extra hook hand. I thought it'd just be fun to add it to one of them. I found these transparent blue shoulder armor pieces, and it was another great piece to add to the ice look. My favorite Frostwalker I made is this Archer. The torso is from the Hunchback minifigure from Lego Studios. That, paired with an ice leg, gray hood, skeleton head, and black bow and quiver, just really makes a great undead archer. This army is just the start of Ira's plan, but the armies in Frostholm won't take this challenge lightly. Before we move on to the good guys, if you want to see future updates to Frostholm, hit that subscribe button, and like this video if you have been enjoying this series. The main good faction that my story focuses on is the Frostfang Clan, who lives in the village of Icepoint. Now my base figure for this army is the CMF Series 22 Snow Guardian. Over the years I've bought up 26 of these figures, and whenever I find them for a good price I try to get more. I've turned this figure into a variety of units. The lowest level of soldier is the Spearman. I gave them brown spears and white oval shields. The next batch of men are these swordsmen. They have oval shields and short swords. I also found these white helmets from the Harry Potter chess set and thought they just looked great on them. Another group is just the basic Snow Guardians. I really do like how these guys look, so I swapped out some heads and left the rest as is. My Berserker units I gave axes and Snow Guardian shields with realistic Viking helmets. These guys are the best fighters in the clan and are worth 4 men apiece. Now I absolutely love Rangers from Lord of the Rings and fantasy groups like that. That's why in every army I always try to make at least a small squad of Rangers. My lore is these Rangers are highly skilled archers who are masters of wilderness survival. They do fight with the main army as archers, but are mostly used to weaken enemies with constant harassment such as sneak attacks and ambushes. They are also used to get intel on enemy movements. elements. For the Frostfang Rangers, I used Snow Guardian torsos as the base, gave them white hoods and dark blue capes from the Falconer. Now white capes would probably look better, but I don't have many. These dark blue ones from the CMF Falconer are also a good color that fits with the army, but I also just like the style of them. Also, I got lots of these capes. I also gave them quivers and lastly bows. Now while researching what LEGO medieval weapons are out there for different armies I'm doing, I found these white bows and I knew I needed them for these rangers. My lore is that these rangers paint their bows white to help them blend into the environment so that they can ambush enemies easier. Since the CMF Snow Guardian came with huskies, I wanted to find a way to incorporate them in. So I made 2 husky handlers. They are pretty basic and have ropes that connect to the dogs. The final group is the chieftain's personal guard. I gave them these tan shoulder armor parts that we got in the Viking Village, and long swords from the CMF Fierce Barbarian. Also in the guard is the standard bearer. He has a custom made standard with white and blue banners plus a Snow Guardian shield. The last 2 figures are the chieftain and his wife. The chieftain is named Baldur and has a white helmet also from the Harry Potter set with a white feather on the top. I gave him pearl dark gray shoulder armor and a falconer cape. Finally, he has a white sword and Snow Guardian shield. Now I think the Ice Queen's torso goes really well with the Snow Guardian, so I ended up using her torso and legs for the chieftain's wife. I swapped the head and hands for some yellow ones. I also gave her a falconer's cape and a white fur piece. The hair is the same piece as the queen's, but I swapped it from a white one to a brown one. Now to be honest, this is one of my favorite hair parts for royalty, so I couldn't help but use it. At some point I want to look for other torsos that would go well with this army to grow the clan even more. But as of right now, I'm very happy with how this army is. Those are the 2 main armies in Frostholm. I'll definitely be trying to find new ways to expand and improve on each army, but they are definitely not the only factions that will appear in Frostholm.